Hello students, today we are going to start with our new lesson, that is the third lesson of history, ruling the rural areas. This is the lesson we are going to see in this lecture. Okay, so first I would like to introduce you the lesson, what the lesson is about. So after the victory in the battle of Buxar, so in the previous chapter we have learnt about that the Britishers got the victory in the battle of Buxar. What the benefit it was there after this battle? The English East India Company got the right to collect the revenue of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, today's Odisha. The British now required money for the cost of maintaining the administrative structure, war expenses and for buying the Indian products or goods for exporting to England. So this is how the actual control it was there on this area of the Britishers. So for the administration, then the war expenses and the buying that Indian goods which they wanted to sell to England or the European countries. Okay, so for all this purpose they required the money. Their aim was only to earn more and more profit. So their aim was only, means they were concentrating on their profit only. But collection of revenue on the time was not so easy for the company. So the revenue was, land revenue was the main income source, and the collection of this land revenue was not an easy task. So they made some changes between 1793 to 1857. Okay, so they made some changes and introduced also some new policies to increase their income. Okay, so they introduced some new policies about the revenue systems. Okay, so that new policies we are going to learn in this lesson. Okay, so the first, that is what the point which is we are going to see, that is the land revenue till 1793. Means what was the system in our country for the collection of the revenue. Okay, so that is what before the British, means before the advent of the British, means when the period when the Britishers were not there in our country, the villages in our country were self-sufficient. Self-sufficient means what? All that, whatever the needs and the requirements were completely fulfilled in the village itself. The main occupation in the village was agriculture. Okay, means the most of the people were engaged in the agricultural activities. The farmers produced crops for their own, on their own land and paid a part of that production to the king as a revenue. Some people also engaged in the arts and crafts like pottery and iron smelting. So these are what that other occupations also done by the people. So everything it was very on a very smooth level. The English East India Company got the Diwali rights of Bihar, Bengal and Odisha in 1765 after that battle of Buxar. They also continued the traditional revenue collection method, means after their control they continue with the same system, means they also used to collect that some part of the production from the farmers in the form of a revenue. So, but some corrupt officers, the corrupt officers were also there, they made the huge fortune, means they started to collect that more and more revenue from these farmers by collecting more revenue. Okay, then due to this, villages declined with the economy, means whatever the self-sufficiency it was there with the villages, that started to decline, and also the whatever the farm products were there, the croppings were there, that also started to decline. Artisans also moved away from the villages as the Britishers used to force them to sell their goods at a very low prices. Again that in 1770 a very worst type of a famine worsened the situation of the villages. So because of all this, the whatever the income of the villages, that started to decline. To improve the situation, Warren Hastings introduced the Izagari system. Okay, so the Warren Hastings only, he introduced the first Izagari system in 1772, means after that famine. As per this system, revenue collection rights given to the highest orders, is whoever the highest personalities were there in the village, they were given that rights to collect the revenue in that villages, and that was the right given for the 5 years, term of a 5 years. They were called contractors. So these, what it is given, that word which is used here is, that is the bidder. Okay, so these bidders were called as a contractors. This system proved unsuccessful as bids were not so trustful. So whoever the collectors or that contractors were there, they were not so trustful. The company never know about the real revenue collections, as it's changed every year. So whatever that collection, revenue collection it was there, that changed every year. So to improve this revenue collection system, so the Britishers wanted the stabilized income, so they wanted to improve this revenue collection system. For this, company introduced the 3 new systems, that are the permanent system, the Maharwari system, and the Rayatwari system. So these are that new revenue collection systems introduced by the Britishers or the company. The first of these, that the permanent system, which was introduced by Lord Cornwallis in 1793, we are going to learn about this. Okay, so it was introduced by Lord Cornwallis, and that was in the areas of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. The main features. What are the main features of this? That is, the revenue was fixed with no scope or chance to revise. So they fixed the revenue, and there was no any kind of chance for the revision of this revenue. The second point, it was collected by local zamindars and pay on time to company. Means the local zamindars, they used to collect the revenues, and after that they used to pay that particular fixed amount to the company. Even the crops failure, due to that flood, drought, the land would be auctioned off. Means if the farmers or the peasants fail to pay the revenue, their land would be auctioned. Auction means what? Sale off. So the new class of absentee landlords emerged. So obviously these lands were purchased by the landlords who were the rich. So the absentee landlords emerged. Absentee landlords means what? That landlords who were having their lands in the villages, but they were living in the cities or the towns. So the tax collectors became the hereditary. Okay, means it transferred from father to son. The third point, after paying to the company, the remaining amount was as a profit for the zamindars. So what the advantages? Okay, the main features we have learnt. Now we are going to see about the advantages for the company. So after introducing these system, that permanent system, what the benefit it was there for the company? That the first is what? The income source become assured even in the adverse condition. Means even if the crop failure it is there, till they used to get the fixed amount of a revenue for themselves. Then the second is what? The new landlords became the strong supporters of the British government. So that is how the benefit for the company. But now what the effects it was there on the peasants and the zamindars. Okay, so peasants and zamindars, what the effect it was there on them? First is what? The peasants remained on the mercy of the zamindars. The peasants completely depend upon the mercy of a zamindars and lost their lands due to the high revenue. Okay. Okay, so that was what the effect. Then the second point, peasants took the loans from the money lenders, okay, at the very high interest to pay the revenue on time. If they failed to repay the loan, they were removed from their land by these money lenders as their land were mortgaged. Then the third point, the land revenue was fixed and it was very high. Even the landlords were hardly managed to pay that fixed revenue to the company. So in the earlier period, in the very initial periods, when that system was started, many zamindars also lost their lands. The fourth number point, the British and the landlords made no investment to improve the agricultural production because they were not having any kind of interest for the improvement of the agriculture. They were only interested in the revenue as in the form of a profit. Then the last point is what? The peasants were forced to grow the cash crops like indigo, cotton for the maximum revenue. So this is how we have completed that permanent system. Okay. So here we are going to stop. The remaining part we will see in the next lecture. Thank you.